I do solemnly swear that I'll support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
When George Allen took office, it followed a long, difficult period in Virginia's history. Virginia was lagging behind other states in recruiting jobs. Taxes had been raised. Violent criminals were being paroled. Welfare was out of control. And schools were not teaching the basic skills our children needed to compete. Most of all, cynicism and apathy plagued Virginians as scandals and infighting rocked the highest offices in the state. Virginians longed for a governor who would again be a leader they could trust, someone who would keep his word, restore integrity, and make us proud again.
So help me God.
So George Allen began his 4-year crusade by, first of all, keeping his word and his commitment to Jeffersonian conservative principles.
George was very excited about the opportunity to fulfill promises that were based on ideas that he has held for many, many years. Abolishing parole, changing welfare. These were ideas that he had when he was in the General Assembly.
Governor Allen, to me, is a man who has kept his word. He's trustworthy.
Governor Allen has won the respect of people, even those who disagree with an idea, because you cannot help but respect a person who does what they say they're going to do.
I think George, to me, is what you see is really is what you get.
His first order of business was to put Virginia's economic house back in order. And George Allen did more than that.
Virginia's always been an outstanding product to sell, but in the early 90s with the recession and budget cuts, we were losing the will and the capacity to compete.
We were floundering. Our physical policies were not in good shape. We certainly weren't friendly to business.
Governor Allen had a very ambitious agenda and sought to create 125,000 new jobs in Virginia when he took office. A lot of people were very skeptical about that, but George Allen brought zest, enthusiasm, a bright day to Virginia's economic development posture.
Governor Allen has just been absolutely fantastic in trying to help build a foundation and to support the development of business, which I believe you see right now is helping to carry the state and will continue to carry it for us a number of years.
He'll be remembered best, I believe, by the ability to create over 250,000 new jobs during the course of his administration.
Virginia's children have always been a priority for George Allen, making sure they're ready for the jobs of the future.
When the textbooks are written, Governor Allen, I'm sure, will be noted for economic development, but he will also be noted for education. It was a time during which, for those who keep score by money, we had the largest infusion of state resources for K-12 in the history of the Commonwealth. But it was more than money. He called for safe schools. He worked to make them safer. He called for higher academic expectations, and we have new expectations. He's called for testing, and we have new testing. He didn't want the schools to be mediocre. He wanted them to be as strong as they could be, and he pushed us to bring that to a reality.
You know, Governor Allen has always talked about a common sense approach to higher education. And one of the best things that Governor Allen did was to insist upon a tuition freeze for all students and their families to make college more affordable to every Virginian. But the very refreshing change, in my view, is the governor's insistence that we remember that the taxpayers are footing the bill for public education.
Like the rest of America, the taxpayers of Virginia wanted people on welfare to work for their benefits. and become self-reliant. So did George Allen.
The welfare system in the Commonwealth had failed. Thousands of Virginia welfare recipients had fallen into a debilitating cycle of dependency on government. But with Governor Allen's leadership, we were able to tear down that system of dependency and rebuild it from the ground up. We succeeded in accomplishing the most sweeping, principled, and pro-family welfare reform measure in the nation.
Without welfare reform, I probably would, or some of us probably would still be just at home, you know, afraid to take a chance.
And the people of Virginia also wanted to protect victims of crime, keep violent criminals behind bars, and make families safe again in their neighborhoods. George Allen kept those promises, too.
I want to abolish parole, especially for violent criminals.
I think Governor Allen has definitely sent a message across the country that Virginia is a state that's not going to tolerate criminal activity, and we're going to be extremely tough on crime with the no parole laws that we've enforced. And I think that some of the things he's pushed to the General Assembly have sent that message across, and he definitely is going to be known as a law enforcement governor.
And when our nation sent our young men and women to the far-off front lines of Bosnia, George Allen understood that our commitment to their safety went beyond the borders of Virginia.
When he meets a soldier or an airman, he never forgets their name or what they were doing.
And if all the family members will touch it, when they see that flag, they'll not only think of Virginia, they'll think of their loved ones back home.
Each family member and each soldier touched that Virginia flag, and the soldiers took it with them, so they'll have a constant reminder that someone back home is supporting them.
Most of all, George Allen has never forgotten the essence of Virginia, her families, including his own.
I respect her, I love her, and I admire her for all of her qualities, whether it's her kindness, whether it's her care for me, for the children, for people she meets across Virginia. My first date with Susan was a canoe trip.
We floated down the river for 8 hours, and I must say that I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. I think I was sure that I was madly in love with him after that first date.
We did not tip over during that canoe trip. There were later ones where I wanted to get another cast before the rapids, but on the first one I was behaving and all of that.
We dated for 2 years there before we married, and have been married 11 years, and the adventure has never ended.
Without Susan, I think my life would be very, very hollow and empty. But Tyler's a good entrepreneur. She gets her daddy's entrepreneurship. She set up a lemonade stand, and she gets 25 cents a cup of lemonade, and she'll make enough money to buy Beanie Babies or whatever sort of thing she wants to squander her money on.
Lemonade for 25 cents!
She even pays for us a little bit extra to stand and yell, "Lemonade, lemonade, 25 cents.
Thank you.
There was one day I was just dog-tired. It was just endless crises after crisis and decision and so forth, and had another stack of things to do, and Forrest had a soccer game. And Susan said to me, she said, "Are you going to go to Forrest's soccer game?" And I said, "I have too much work to do. There's just no way I can put all this stuff down." She says, "What about those family values that you're always talking about in your speeches?" Well, I went to the game, and I was very glad I went to the game because he scored his first 2 goals ever, and so that was just great to see that.
He's as dedicated a family man as he is a governor to the people of Virginia. He tries his hardest to be home every night at 6 o'clock so that we can eat together as a family, so we can experience that time talking about current events or about history or about soccer or Girl Scouts or gymnastics or whatever has gone on in school that day. He gives to us the same amount of energy that he gives to the people of Virginia, the same amount of devotion that he's given to his job as governor. He is a great inspiration. Anybody who can give 110% all day to their work and to the people they love once they get home really deserves a lot of credit.
Thank you, Governor Allen, for being the greatest governor the state of Virginia has ever had.
Thank you, Governor Allen, for making college more affordable.
Thank you, Governor Allen, for 4 tremendous years.
And for all your efforts in support of economic development.
Thank you, Governor Allen, for bringing jobs to Southwest Virginia and securing a future for our family.
Governor Allen, on behalf of the entire Virginia National Guard, Army, and Air alike, I'd like to thank you for being the greatest Commander-in-Chief we've ever had.
Thank you, Governor Allen, for being the best governor ever.
For making Virginia open for business again. Thank you, Governor Allen.
Thank you, Governor Allen, for giving me the chance to stand on my own.
We have stronger schools because you came our way. And I'm glad I was there when you did.
Thank you for the personal sacrifices that you've made to make our streets safer, our playgrounds safer. Thank you for giving our children a future that we can look forward to.
For making college educations more affordable to students and their families. Thank you, Governor Allen.
Thank you, Governor Allen, for making our future brighter.
Governor Allen, thank you for lifting the spirit of Virginia.
There are many more things to thank you for, Governor Allen. Your optimism, your honesty, your resolve, but most important, thank you for reminding us that
truly our best days in Virginia were not 200 years ago. On the contrary, Virginia's best days lie ahead over boundless horizons.